Well, hello and welcome to Pokemon X and Y.
Why?
I said in the first episode that I wasn't going to say it like that every time, and I have so far, which is great.
I like it, for one.
Thank you. Hopefully this is like the first of our weekly stream, if we get to do this weekly, which we'd like to do. Um, and hopefully the technical issues are gone and we're both moving in real time and we're not just a bunch of pictures stitched together.
Yes, yes. The new and improved technology powering the stream today, thanks to our good friends at Telstra.
Thank you, Telstra.
Thank you, Telstra. They don't sponsor the stream, we just wanted to thank them.
I was going to say they don't sponsor, but in a way they sort of do.
They sort of do. Money was paid, and the money eventually has paid for things for the stream. So indirectly, unwillingly, unknowingly, they sponsor the stream.
I'm sure they're very proud. Should we go over the concept of the show again?
Yeah, let's.
All right, we probably should, seeing as we're not very far into it.
Mm.
The idea of this show is we take some Pokemon that might not necessarily be like the most loved, probably the worst one. Just Pokemon designs that we have something to say, I think. The controversial ones, obviously the first episode that we did was Jinx, the most controversial and rudest Pokemon of them all.
So far. They could come out and top it in the future. We don't know what Nintendo has planned for us.
I don't know. I've got a deep dive investigation to unleash on you tonight. So look forward to that. And my name's Brendan.
Hi, Brendan.
And you are?
I'm Bianca.
Should we get started?
Yeah, let's. We've got our beautiful boy on the screen.
Yeah, I don't have Twitch open. Let me just open it back up.
Mm-hmm.
Realize that's going to be... Anyway, so we've got Ludicolo up on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, where do we start? Where do we start with this boy?
There's a lot going on.
So, I've just got a bit of an anecdote, bit of history. So,
Mm-hmm.
I bought Pokemon Sapphire when it came out in 2002. I might have gone a bit after, I don't remember, but it was around that time, 2002, 2003. Even though the internet was around, I was like a little baby, so I hadn't thought about like looking up the new Pokemon when before they came out.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like the last series, the last generation that I went to completely fresh, not knowing any of the new Pokemon designs, and everything was a surprise, which is really cool. And I wish I could go back to that, but now I just get too excited when new Pokemon designs come out, so I can't do that.
You gotta absorb all that content immediately.
Yeah. So next slide, please. Bianca is controlling.
I am controlling the slide. So now we're looking at a less attractive young boy here.
You think less attractive?
I think it absolutely less attractive.
Okay.
He looks dopey with the eyes and the jaw sticking out.
Okay. Well, interesting you say that. I think I might get back into that a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So I leveled up Lotad, which I'll show you a bit later. I think Lombre looks pretty cool. I don't think he's like particularly good. I don't think he's particularly bad either. I feel like looking at him though, you could look at him and say he is like big banger second generation out of a 3-generation line. You can tell that something cool is coming after this game. That's the impression
fair.
that I got.
That's a fair assessment. It's a work in progress.
Obviously, I was disappointed when he evolved, and I don't know what it is. Every time I look at Ludicolo, you can go back to his picture now if you want. You'll have to go back a slide there because the next one's slightly different.
Yeah, that's okay. I've gone backwards to look at the first slide.
He gives off pervy vibes to me. That's all I want to say. He has just has like this smile and these cold dead eyes.
I think the hands, they're like, they're in like, they're kind of like this. I feel like that's a very grabby motion.
That's probably it. There's a lot of things going on which genuinely make me feel uncomfortable looking at. That's not a bit. It's true. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Also, it's made even more disappointing by the fact that his counterpart, so Lombre and Lotad, the first evolution, and Ludicolo were exclusives to Sapphire, and their counterparts look pretty cool. Like not like the coolest, but if you go forward 2 slides, there'll be a shift tree, which is like
Ah,
the
yeah, I know the one. Yep.
yeah.
He
I
looks
think he's
rad.
pretty cool.
Yeah, he looks really
Yeah,
rad. I rate Shift Tree.
yeah. But like that's the counterpart to Ludicolo. That's the competition.
Yeah, I think Sapphire lost that competition.
Sapphire has some good ones though.
Who do you rate from Sapphire?
I can't remember.
I'll take your
Uh,
word for it.
Maybe it doesn't. Actually, Kyogre I think is fucking.
Kyogre's rad. Yep, I'll accept that.
Um, so I had a similar problem in this gen with Breloom as well, which is the next slide if you want to move over.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar problem, but not the exact same problem. Where I had leveled up a Pokemon and gotten Breloom, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to evolve this Breloom. It looks like it's going to evolve into something really cool, and it doesn't evolve into anything. And I
Yeah,
leveled it up to like a really high level, and it didn't evolve.
I really like Breloom. I didn't play that generation, the Sapphire generation, and so I only found out about it much later on, and I was like, oh my god, this must be a new one that's come out in I think Black was the one that the most recent one after that I played, and I was like, oh my gosh, this new Pokemon, and I realized it had been out for like, it was an old Pokemon technically. And I was like, oh, I think it looks really cool, but that's just me.
In hindsight, probably would be fine if it wasn't for the disappointment. Like, it's just tainted.
Yeah,
Pokemon to be
yeah, I'm
complete.
expecting him to just transform into something a little bit cooler.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to change to the next slide, but not quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't looked at Ludicolo in a while, so just prepare yourselves.
All right, being mentally prepared.
So when I was looking at pictures to put together this slideshow, like all of them, like every single shot of a Ludicolo from the anime is just like way worse than the actual official art.
Okay.
But feel free to go
Okay,
to the
alright,
next
let's have a
slide
look.
now.
He looks. What makes it so different though? He's taller. Like,
He's different.
yeah,
His dimensions are different.
yeah. I feel like in that first image, it's like he's a small round pineapple with a face, and in this, I feel like he's a man in a pineapple suit.
He looks like a mascot for like a fruit store.
Yes, this is the guy who'd be outside like Frank's Fresh Fruit Market in Haberfield.
Or Banana Joe's in Marrickville.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting real good locations about where we live. Like just by
Yeah,
this
where do you
too.
think we're from, guys?
So this photo also, you might see a little man on the right.
A little man. Compared to Ludicolo, he is extremely small.
Which is where might come challenging themes are about to be
Yeah,
exposed for
we've got
Ludicolo.
we've got a comment in the chat from Mitch Likes Toast that says "Viva la Mexico," and I feel like that captures the essence of where this is going.
Right. So his actual design, it's a mixture of a pineapple.
Mm-hmm.
As you can go to the next slide if you want, which will be the
Yeah,
official
back to the official art, not the weird man in a suit art.
Don't worry, there'll be more later. So pineapple, a duck, which you can see by the bill,
Mm-hmm.
and a sombrero, which you can see by his head. Also, like his yellow skin, that's like supposed to be a poncho. So, before I get into like their cultural appropriation, just a quick word on his color palette.
Mm-hmm.
Like the lime green, yellow, and brown. I feel like it would be fine, but the lime green doesn't do it for me, and it just makes the whole thing like he needs like some blue or something in there.
The whole thing is it's quite washed out because
Yeah.
because they're all pale colours. They're not like actually very colourful colours. But I do
Yeah.
wonder if that's just the official art. Because I'm just going to flick back to that previous one, and those colours are extremely vivid on
Yeah.
the large version, on large Ludicolo, compared to little tiny pineapple-sized, washed out Ludicolo.
There's a little tiny pineapple guy, and then a man in his pineapple.
Man in a pineapple suit. Those are the two incarnations of
Two
Ludicolo.
genders. So, yeah, cultural appropriation. Actually, I've got a bit more before we get into that.
All right.
There's a lot of hype for this. So I've got his Pokedex entries, and as you can imagine, all of them are like the same thing but variations. All of them are to do with Ludicolo becoming more powerful when he hears festive music, which is
That's not really in the Pokedex, is it? Please.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh boy.
And the other one, which is lending some credence to my theory, Ludicolo appears near laughing or singing children when they're on hikes. Which is
When they're on hikes.
yeah.
So these children are just pleasantly enjoying their own time, having a fun time, going on a nature walk, and then this motherfucker pops up. Hey!
A man in a pineapple suit pops up.
Man in a pineapple suit. Not a small pineapple size, potentially cute to the right person, but a very scary man in a pineapple suit will pop out and just start yelling at them.
Exactly. So this is from the Pokedex entry in the show. It says if Ludicolo hears festive music, all its muscles fill with energy. It can't help breaking into a dance. So as you can guess, that's what all the Pokedex entries say, and like some of them hype up how powerful it gets even more than others. It's like Ludicolo becomes unstoppable when it hears music.
Unstoppable.
I don't think it actually says the words unstoppable, but
It gets pretty bloody powerful.
yeah. So
I just
obviously,
want to, just while we're on the topic of the dancing though, what happens with a Ludicolo hearing some festive music in the same location and within earshot of a Jinx? Because Jinx, as we know, just love to dance. We've discovered this during our Jinx episode. Do you reckon they would dance together? Do you reckon Jinx and Ludicolo would get on?
I'm almost certain there's been a scene in the anime at some point where there's been a big dance party and both of those Pokemon have been dancing at the same time. I'm pretty sure it said Brock owns one.
Brock, he would.
Of course he has the pervert Pokemon.
Yeah, amongst all these rock Pokemon, he's also probably got Mr. Mime in there too.
Mr. Mime, Jinx. So obviously Mexican stereotype. And that's even more of an indication when you go to the two pre-evolutions, which I've got next on the slides.
Yeah.
So Lombre obviously is supposed to sound like hombre, and in terms of like, I'll get into this a bit later, but in terms of like cultural appropriation, like it's only just been the outfit so far. However, Lombre is defined by sleeping all day, which is another real bad Mexican stereotype.
Interesting thing to put in your Pokedex entry. That's fine. Moving right along.
And in case it wasn't obvious, Ludicolo is a water Pokemon. Which you can tell by looking at these pre-evolutions as a water Pokemon.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go to Ludicolo, there's nothing.
Is he still a water Pokemon at that point?
Oh yeah, he's water and grass Pokemon.
It looks like just straight grass.
Yeah, sure does. I don't know what to tell you. But it also evolves with a water stone as well, so it's like full-on water.
Interesting.
Do you want to go to this slide after Lotad and I've got another screenshot from that.
It's so different. The colours are so much more vivid.
It's like the angle's completely different. You can't tell if this is man-sized or pineapple-sized this time.
Yeah, I mean, especially because look how tiny that guy is in the background. It's all relative. Like, if that's just a small child and this thing is actually standing right next to him, then man in a pineapple suit theory gains more credence.
Yeah, these look more computer-generated than like previous seasons, so this looks like it's late to the piece because the animation's a lot more crisp. And like if you compare that to the Pineapple Man, he looks like a completely different Pokemon.
Yeah, he does.
So
I also want to just slide into Aztec 333 has requested more Inner West neighborhood content. So just keep that in mind. Please find a way to work in some more references into into your speeching.
I'll try. Like, I'll really try. Actually,
We may have
I'll
peaked with the fruit markets.
I have peaked with Banana Joe's. I'll be able to mention Marrickville in a sec. It'll be totally irrelevant, and I'll have to make a real big hurdle to get there, but I'll do it.
I believe.
Just remember that. Whoever commented that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this big secret that I've been hiding about Ludicolo?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is that Ludicolo is based on a Japanese yokai.
Oh.
It's called a kappa, which is interesting because it's not a Twitch thing.
It's not a Twitch. It's not a very grainy black and white grayscale photo of a dude with a weird facial expression.
No, it's not.
Oh, I thought I would finally know one.
You've seen how fucking blinding Ludicolo is.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
So it's spelled the same though, Kappa. If you skip to the next slide, it'll be an artist's impression.
Yikes!
It's pretty ugly.
It's hideous. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
See, on the top of its head, it's got.
It's flat.
It's like a bowl that's filled with water. Now Ludicolo's got like a sombrero that holds water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like this duck bill as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's an amphibious demon in Japanese folklore, as I mentioned, that lives in rivers, I guess. Much like the Marrickville River that I've been on a walk to.
Oh. Sliding that content in there.
And yeah, it's got a dish on its head for collecting water. So when
Why
I was
would it
looking
need a
up...
dish on its head to collect water if it lives in the water?
Good question. I'll ask Japan about it.
Yeah, would you please?
So it has 3 defining traits. The kappa.
Mm-hmm.
There's more stuff. If you really care about this, you can go look it up yourselves, I guess. But there's three things about it that were listed on Wikipedia.
Yep.
1, it loves cucumbers.
Okay.
2, it loves sumo wrestling.
Okay. Cool.
And 3, it steals souls from people's penises.
One of
And,
these things is not like the other.
One of these things, no.
He's a novel pastime that people like. He's a relatively inoffensive food item that people generally like to eat, and then he's a real curveball coming at you.
So when I started this journey thinking like this Pokemon has something dodgy going on, and I discovered this fact, I was like,
You've uncovered it.
I've uncovered it.
Who needs Detective Pikachu? We have Detective
penises.
Brendan.
In 2002, I knew that he stole the souls from penises.
You had him figured out. You just didn't know it yet.
I knew his number.
The jig was up in 2002.
So it begs the question as well why there's like Mexican stereotype crossed with this Japanese folklore. I have no idea what the reasoning is behind it, but Ludicolo takes elements from both, which is a very high concept to implement into a Pokemon game, into one Pokemon. And so I just summing up Ludicolo a bit, you can swap to the next slide, which has another picture of Ludicolo from the anime.
Mm-hmm. Now we've got anime version of small pineapple-sized Ludicolo. Yeah. He's reverted.
I gotta figure out. I'm
I
pretty sure.
I figured it out. When he hears festive music, he gets more powerful, right? That's when he turns into man in a pineapple suit-sized Ludicolo.
That's Mega Ludicolo.
That's Mega Ludicolo. And then when the music stops and his power fades, that's when he reverts to small, inoffensive Ludicolo.
So, Ludicolo, I think like other Pokemon we've talked about in this, like Binnacle, definitely not lazy. Definitely effort's gone into it. It's very high concept. It just didn't work out. Like,
yeah, there's a lot going
effort,
on.
But like F for execution.
you know, it's funny, you were saying before, like, they've taken these two, like, the pineapple and the sort of Mexico-themed idea, and then they've taken the yokai idea and just sort of gone, bang, you're in. It's like on the second episode, which we haven't actually published yet, we talked about a Pokemon who I won't spoil, but similar thing. So it's, you know, two extremely disparate concepts that don't really relate to each other in the slightest, and they've just sort of put them both in one Pokemon, and it doesn't particularly work out. So it seems like it's a bit of a common theme where they've got lots of different ideas for Pokemon, but they can't just make hundreds of Pokemon. I mean, sorry, poor choice of words. They can just make hundreds of Pokemon. They choose not to at one point in time. So they just sort of squish them down and just say all of these different ideas can go into one Pokemon.
It's not like there are 800 Pokemon for us to work with.
No, we couldn't possibly just bench this idea and just start fresh with it. We have to keep pushing more and more into this one Pokemon.
Actually, we should find the Pokemon which has the most concepts going on at once.
Yes.
The busiest Pokemon. Actually, it would be an Ultra Beast.
It would be. Oh my god, I hate Ultra Beasts. They're so... Oh.
We will have an Ultra Beast special episode.
We will absolutely do that.
There's some fucking atrocious decisions that were made.
Yeah.
So, I was going to do a segment on cultural appropriation in Pokemon, but I think the topic was a bit too big to tackle because there's obvious outliers like Jinx, which is like obviously racist, which is why Jinx is the mascot of our show.
Yes.
But there's a lot of Pokemon are based on either folklore or mythology or like native animals to different countries, and they all have their own varying levels of significance in terms of culture. And I am white, so take this with a grain of salt, but I would say generally speaking, there's a lot of love goes into representing different cultures if they're going to make a Pokemon design out of it. I think the Holucha is a great example. The bird that is also a luchador.
Oh yeah, I love Holucha. Holucha and Incineroar, I fucking love them.
That's right. As I said, like, I'm not the person to say what is culturally appropriate for other cultures, which is why we'll have our own episode on Australian Pokemon in the future.
Yes. Finally, our expertise can shine through.
Yeah.
It's funny though, like how they can get it so wrong in the case of Jinx. And it's like because, you know, I'm not from Spain or Mexico. I don't have any, you know, I'm not going to stand here and be like, this deeply offends me, a white person. But like, if anything, like if you find out these pieces of information, like the fact that, you know, one of his pre-evolutions has is just lazy and sleeps all day. That's like a bit like, I feel like if it makes you sort of have that reaction, then it might be. I'm not going to say it is because it's not my place. But there might be some rework required on that.
Yeah, good sentiments. So I've got two more things before we wrap up on Ludicolo. One, this is from a blog that I wrote 3 years ago entitled 9 Pokemon That Hurt My Eyes, I think. So I just want to point out
what a great blog title.
So this is what I wrote about Ludicolo 3 years ago. It looks like he should be in prison. I don't know what for, but I would feel a lot safer knowing this creepy guy is behind bars. Sure, Pineapple Duck sounds good on paper, but every time I see this, it makes me want to die. Also, probably cultural appropriation too, not good. So I'm glad that I still feel exactly the same thing.
You stand by your original assessment.
Yeah. The last one, I have the Mandarin translation, which I think is really cute.
Oh, cool. Love a good Mandarin translation.
It translates from happy-go-lucky river lad.
Happy-go-lucky river lad.
Which is really good, and I thought that's why I want to end this part.
That is a really good note to end on. That's a really good note to end on. I love a good Mandarin name. Happy-go-lucky river... What was it? Happy-go-lucky river guy?
River lad.
River lad. He is a bit of a lad.
River dude.
He's a river dude.
That's it from me.
All right, cool. So I'll bring up the slides that some slides I prepared earlier. Bit of a provocative first slide to open with, and that's that Bouffalant was a mistake. Click to add subtitle. I don't like Bouffalant. In case you couldn't tell. My number one reason for not liking it, and this is the main discussion point I wanted to talk about, is that it's basically Tauros, as you can see on my second slide. It's Tauros, like it's Tauros but hairier. Like I don't know how else you want me to describe Bouffalant. It's Tauros but hairier.
I would describe him with a bouffant of hair.
He does have a bouffant of hair.
As well as being Tauros.
Yeah, he's got Tauros, but with a really cool afro.
I just saw your slides.
Thank you.
And the exclamation mark just really, really, like, caps off your point very well.
I don't know what else to say. They copied their own idea. It's self-plagiarism. I don't understand. But that's the main reason why. I just sort of look at it and like the pose is the same. They're both doing the thing where they've got the front leg, one of them is sort of off the ground like they're ready to charge. They've got the exact same pose, they've got the exact same colour palette. They've got basically the exact same design, which it just baffles me as to why you would do that. But I don't want to be all negative and just dunking on him because he's a rip-off of Tauros. And let it be said, I don't even like Tauros that much, but I respect that he came first.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just try and find some positives. Number one, has a cool afro. I'm not going to deny. The afro is cool. I don't think there's many Pokemon with afros, so that's cool. And afros are just pretty rad in general. So 0.1 for him for having a cool afro. And then 0.2 is he's got bling on his horns, and Tauros doesn't. Tauros has just got sort of grey, boring horns, and Bouffalant has got some fully sick gold rings on them.
He's like the troll models in WoW, where they have their rings coming out of their tusks.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like Bouffalant got that customization option, and Tauros didn't. Tauros elected to just have bare tusks, but Bouffalant he went visit the jeweler. He got some nice gold shit on there, and it looks pretty rad. Number 3, is that a monocle? I don't know. This is up for debate.
Yeah,
it looks a little bit like a monocle. If so, that's rad. I don't know why he would have a monocle, because he's a bull and that doesn't really make any sense, but I really like the idea that he just sort of has a monocle.
What is going on? What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's pictures of him in the anime, and he actually has different coloured eyes, and those lines are like really, really thick, so you can see that those are like his eyes.
Oh, okay. Well,
so they've swapped his design out in the anime, because I think too many children are probably like, is that a monocle?
Possibly. This is another case of this is the official art that is being displayed here. I didn't go and get any anime pictures. So I guess I'll have to edit this slide on the fly and remove is that a monocle, because it's not. So sorry. It would be cool if it was.
Yeah,
his fourth best feature is that he will be in Detective Pikachu, which I don't know if it's safe to say this, but I am fucking so excited for Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
I cannot wait to see Detective Pikachu. I love everything about Detective Pikachu.
That's cool and all, but why isn't Tauros in Detective Pikachu?
Yeah, see, look, it's every time I give a point to Bouffalant, I have to take one away from Tauros because they're the same fucking thing. And that's kind of it. That's kind of it for there are literally no other cool things that I can think to say about Bouffalant. I've also got another comment saying that he's got yellow eyes because of hepatitis A. So I'm gonna add that to my next slide because apparently Hep A gives you yellow eyes, and he has yellow eyes, so therefore he has hepatitis A.
I'm just imagining the Pokédex being like Bouffalant, the Hep Pokemon.
the hepatitis Pokemon. Okay, so now we're just going to move on to his worst features. Now we're going to go full on dunk on him mode.
Okay, I'll give my thoughts after.
Okay. number one, you talked about Ludicolo's colour scheme being very washed out. Bouffalant has the exact same problem. Like, even the yellow, the gold on his rings is not really bright yellow. It's kind of a washed out pale yellow. And it's the exact same colour palette as what Tauros has. Like, light brown, dark brown, grey, horn colour, yellow. That's it.
Yeah.
He is 90% hair and fur. Like, there's no sort of feature. He doesn't really have a feature. He's got the hair, but like it doesn't do anything. It just sort of sits there, and he just sort of his face is hidden away underneath it. And I very much like when you can see like a Pokemon's face, because they can have some more expressions and stuff. Unless there's like a really good reason for it not being shown. But so that's not a huge fan. And consequently, because his face is so hidden, he doesn't have a lot of personality. Like, apart from his personality in this picture, to me, is I'm going to charge at you, which is not really a personality. Like, it's certainly not a happy-go-lucky river lad.
I have something that I've just thought of, which you might want to add to the list.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't the afro sort of make the horns less effective?
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we agree.
Horns ruined by hair.
Good. I'm glad that we're getting these extra notes down.
Yeah.
Or when we save these slides.
Yeah, when we publish them to thunderous applause. This point 4, it's not really its own distinct thing. It's more of a combination of everything that I've said so far. I find he's quite forgettable, because he came out in black and white, which I think is generation 5, maybe 6, with quite a way in, and he's not really like cool. Like, he's not one where it's like a kid is never going to say Bouffalant is my favorite Pokemon. Like, no one will ever say that.
That kid would get so bullied.
That kid would get bullied, and rightfully so, mate. Like, I'm sorry. There's like 800 of these little dudes, and this is the guy you pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bouffalant. I like his hair. And I don't understand what his purpose is, because it's not like they're trying to explore a new concept, or multiple in the case of Ludicolo. Like, he just sort of, it's another big hulking brown Pokemon with horns.
I was going to say this point till the end, but I'll interject here because I think it's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I will defend Bouffalant on one front, and it's something that you mentioned. It's that Bouffalant came out in Gen 5, and Gen 5, for the most of the game, until you beat the Elite Four, I'm pretty sure, you could only catch Gen 5 Pokemon. So that means that they needed, like, a lot of filler, basically. I think they introduced the most amount of Pokemon in that one.
Oh, really?
And it's like, so someone on the team must have been like, we need a Pokemon that's like, actually, also, I'm pretty sure in Gen 5 they were, I might be getting this wrong. I'm pretty sure in Gen 5 they would like introduced a bunch of Pokemon based on American animals. I might be wrong, but I remember there being that eagle Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah. So this is something where, like, if I wanted to get really technical, which I may as well, because what else am I doing with my life? Tauros is based on a bull, and Bouffalant is technically based on like a bison.
Yeah. Which
are technically different animals, right? I mean, I'm no biologist, but I know the difference between those two. No, not really. But that sort of comes back into, because a bison, they're in America, right? I'm not going to out myself as a massive idiot. I'm pretty sure they're in America, so that definitely makes sense to me. Interesting that you bring that up, because I definitely played Black and White, and I do not remember anything about that game. I don't remember that I had to have all those Pokemon. I'm sure it's true, I just don't remember it.
Yeah, it's like for the first, I'm pretty sure it was until you beat the Elite Four, you could only find Pokemon from that generation. Because I'm pretty sure that was like the first time that they tried to soft reboot the series, and then they tried to soft reboot the series again in Gen 6, and then again in Gen 7.
We'll just keep on trying it.
And then they soft rebooted it again with Pokemon Let's Go.
Well, that was a rip-roaring success.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. It looks like I'm pretty sure Gen 5 might have been, I think the map might have been based on Um, France was it? Or was that no? That was
No, that
six,
was
wasn't it?
X and Y. X and Y
So
was the one that was based on France, and they had that big Eiffel Tower that was not the Eiffel Tower.
yeah. So I'm pretty, and which is also a Smash stage. Yeah.
Mm. Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure Gen 5 was based on New York, which would make sense
Yes.
if they
Yeah, it
used
was. It was because
some
because
American.
it was all like
Yeah.
high tech city. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking at some Pokemon now. There's some like um the builder Pokemon. They're like I guess they're like New York City skyscrapers. I don't know, whatever. But there's a couple like the
Oh, the one
like
that's just holding a girder.
yes.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
sure his
had that
name's
one. I had that one. I remember. It's called. His name is Girder.
yes.
Yeah, you did good. Coming back to Bouffalant though, at
Yes.
least Ludicolo had a good Chinese name. Bouffalant's Chinese name is just a combination of the words afro and water bison. Like, cool. I could have deduced that myself, thanks, but from looking at him. But you know, again, they didn't have much to work with, so you know, he doesn't give
I
off
don't know
the
how,
happy-go-lucky water guy vibe.
he should have been a water Pokemon. That would have added something like anything.
Yeah, that could have been actually really cool. A water bison that's
Yeah.
actually like lives in the water.
Yeah.
Fucking hire me, Nintendo.
Come on.
Come on, I'm literally working for free.
Um, do you have any more notes? Because
Oh, I do. Yeah, I've got just this last slide, which may provoke some pretty full-on reactions, some controversial opinions
Okay.
on this next slide. But basically, what this next slide is saying is we've got this Pokemon that is like clearly copied most of its design elements from another Pokemon.
Yeah.
And the fact that this happens not as blatantly as this, but it happens quite a lot in Pokemon. And as you can see on the next slide, there's lots of examples where they've just sort of done the same thing, but like a different color, or the same thing, like the same
Right.
concept, but a slightly different design. And I'm personally not a huge fan of that because I'm sort of in the mindset of like if you've done the concept once, like as an example, like let's look at Tauros and Bouffalant. Like you've got a kind of a brown thing with a mane, a darker mane. It's got horns. The whole thing is it charges at you. It's big. It's bulky. Like you've done that concept. Why are you doing it again? And like Teddiursa here and the other one. Teddiursa is this cute small bear Pokemon that's like a little baby because it's got its hand in its mouth the whole time. It's this tiny little cute baby thing, and then it evolves into a big hulking bear. And then you've got literally the exact same thing, except the bear is ice this time. Like, it's the same. To me, I think that's the same sort of concept. Like, we haven't really done anything different, and it'd be cool to see if they could do like different things rather than just sort of doing these sort of derivative Pokemons. Like, oh look, another poison-typed snake Pokemon. We already had one of those. Why did we need another one? Yeah, it looks different, but it's the same concept.
Speaking of derivative, looking at these deer Pokemon. So the first one's Stantler is supposed to be a reindeer, but the other two, it's like both of you. Like I feel like someone's traced a scene from Princess Mononoke, okay, to like draw
Yeah,
these.
I know. I totally get that vibe too, especially Xerneas because it's got so many.
Yeah.
But like, and fair enough that Stantler's sort of supposed to be more of a reindeer thing, but you've got 3 Pokemon with extremely similar silhouettes, and I don't really know, like, I'm not a fan, I'll just say, of having multiple of the same concepts just repeated a bunch of times. And you'll notice I've got these 2 in here because they're both owls, but this is probably where I'd say I'm probably more okay with it because the implementation is really different and they look really different, and like the typing is really different. The whole idea of them is different. It's not just it's another owl Pokemon that looks kind of the same, and it's just a flying type, and now you've got just 2 flying type Pokemon that look like owls.
I think just looking at those though, Natu and I can't remember the other one. Is it Zatu?
Zatu, yeah.
Yeah, they all like thinking about that. They look very similar to Noctowl.
Yeah, they do. And they actually came out in the same generation,
Yeah.
which was weird. I was going to put them in as a bad example, and I thought I'll put something positive in there because I fucking love Rowlet's evolution line.
Yeah.
And I think it's sufficiently different enough from Noctowl to not be like an example of like a bad derivative Pokemon. And you'll see at the top, I did choose not to include any fish Pokemon because that's too fucking easy. The same with like 90% of the bird Pokemon. It's just low hanging fruit. But it's just like, it's just what I mean. Like I could have picked like Pidgey and the actual pigeon Pokemon. Like
and an actual pigeon.
An actual pigeon, put them all next to each other. They all look the same, you know? That's
a good point. Pidgey is not based on a pigeon, it's based on a finch. And then they introduced actual pigeon Pokemon.
Yeah. I
only just thought about that. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, there wasn't enough room on the slide to put all the examples that I wanted to put in here about Pokemon that sort of copy each other or are the same thing, just slightly different. These are probably just the easiest examples to tell. Especially I'm really not a fan of whatever the fuck this other Arbok copy is. I don't even know what it's. Seviper.
Like, it's Viper with an S and an E.
Ah, cool. Yeah. But like, I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's a snake Pokemon. I wonder if it's similar to Arbok. Yeah, it's just poison type. It's a poison type snake Pokemon. Thanks. I really couldn't. I just needed more poison type snake Pokemon in my life. That's what I'm after.
So you know how I was trying to come up with some Sapphire exclusive Pokemon?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at them.
Oh.
So Sapphire gets Seviper, and Ruby gets Zangoose, which is like one of the coolest Pokemon designs ever.
Well, let me look up Zangoose real quick.
Zangoose is like what David Bowie would look like as well.
Oh fuck, Zangoose is rad.
Yeah.
Zangoose is really rad.
It's Zangoose or Seviper. Jesus Christ! I typed in Zangoose and like porn comes up so quickly.
Maybe that's just your computer, because I typed up Zangoose and I just got Bulbapedia.
I went to images.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I didn't break that.
That's where I went wrong.
Yeah.
On the second line.
Second line. Now, will we get banned if I do this?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know if you will.
See ya.
I think it's probably okay.
No, it's fine. I'll just put that away. You weren't kidding though. What the fuck? Imagine some kid who rightfully has the opinion that like Zangoose is a cool Pokemon. He's like, Zangoose is my favourite Pokemon. Googles Zangoose and gets to see that little gem.
There's a Digimon that's the same.
Oh fuck! I love Digimon. I love them so much. That's not the topic of this podcast. I just really wanted to say that.
Don't Google it.
All right.
If you want an example, the Digimon's name is Renamon. Very similar. Oh, someone's done some. Oh my
god, this is Renamon. I've just googled Renamon. I'm an image search. It's fucking furry bait, dude.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, our next episode is going to be on furry bait.
It is. It is. Get excited. Get horny.
Get horny, everyone.
Get keen to talk about your favourite furry boys from Pokemon. We're going to have a special guest on. I want to get the special guest on who has some strong opinions about some of the Pokemon that have become popular in the furry communities. There are a handful that have achieved sort of a much higher status than just any old furry Pokemon.
Yeah, because I'm interested to see which ones have like gained the most favor. Like obviously Lucario, but
goes without question.
Yeah, I'm interested to see after Lucario what else is up there.
I wonder if there's like some sort of Pokemon furry website that has a ranking for us.
I was about to say, I wonder how he's tracking on the forums.
Yeah, we could rank his popularity that way. I reckon that's the way to do it.
Speaking of ranking popularity, Bouffalant, I'm going to guess you're giving it a 1?
I'm giving it a 1. I honestly, like, I tried my hardest. It does have an afro. It's got some it's got some blinked up horns. It may have a monocle. We just don't know yet. That's not enough to redeem it from being literally Tauros, but different.
Yeah. So when you started this and you pull out the picture of Tauros side by side with Bouffalant, like I always considered Tauros like the epitome of filler Pokemon in Gen 1. But when I saw them next to each other, I was like, man, Tauros is awesome.
Yeah.
And it might just be comparatively. I'll have to come back to this and look at Tauros by himself. But looking at that, like man, that he looks cool.
He does look cool. Yeah, I like I said before, like I'm not a huge Tauros fan because I'm kind of in the same opinion of you. I think that Tauros suffered because he's in Gen 1, which has so many rad Pokemon, and he's just alright. But putting him next to this like knockoff dollar store Tauros, it's clear that he's superior.
I think as well. Also, this art, I'm fairly sure that art was done after Gen 1. Like, it's fairly like new and crisp, and it also exemplifies the things that make Tauros look like a Pokemon rather than a actual, like, bull.
Yeah. But like that's like the most recent art that I got from Bulbapedia for Tauros.
Yeah.
I should have gone and get, actually, tried to find some sort of older art so I could see what it looks like. But, like... He's still, even though they've like updated, I guess, the design, it's still super clear who he is. Like it looks, it's not like the Mighty Morphin Ludicolo who just goes back and forth from all different sizes at will.
So obviously Ludicolo, 1 star.
1 star.
Not really a question. I remembered I found something at home that I was going to show you on stream. But it's in my car at the moment. I'm not going to go run out of my apartment and grab it. So you can do it next time. But I brought in one of the things, not as exciting, but I think it's still pretty cool. It is the advanced rule book for the Pokemon trading card game that came with like one of the original booster decks. Just reminded me, because on the back it's got like red in this style, which is like really beautiful watercolor, and a lot of the first set of Pokemon cards are in the same watercolored art style, and I love this style so much. Whoever this artist that did all the watercolors of all the original Pokemon looks so good. And that to me, like when I think of Pokemon, I think of like those watercolors. There's like coughing's probably not the best example, but there's one in here, and there's a Vulpix as well. Just look hilarious, but they look so nice. I'll have to start, like, if we do some more Gen 1 Pokemon on this show, I'll bring up some more watercolors, but yeah, they look really nice, and a lot of the Pokemon cards use that as well. The other thing that I got, I'll tell you now, I'll hype it up next time, so all the many people are watching this, one person can get hype for next time. I found it is the Prima Game Guides, what are they called? The strategy guide books for Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Oh yeah, cool.
And there's lots of really cool art that's in the same like watercolor style.
Oh, I should have brought out my I could go and get it. It's just in the other room. The book that I ordered online. Blessed, what's her name? Maria S. Barbo. Blessed Maria S. Barbo content. The original Pokemon guide book that came out, and it was like a Pokédex. It was basically, that's what it was, a Pokédex but a book, and it had like lists of had pictures of all the Pokemon. It had what moves they learned, and it had what level they evolved at, which was actually, I remember. Oh, here it is actually. Here's one I prepared earlier. I'm talking of course about this book, which I had as a child. I don't know what happened to it, so I had to buy another one online. But it has, it doesn't have any of that really cool watercolor art like you're talking about, which is a shame. It's just sort of got the really traditional, like here's an example picture of Wartortle. Just a really sort of basic Pokemon art, but they're really big pictures, they're really good. But I used to use this when I was playing Pokemon Gold because I wanted to know what level Pokemon evolved at, and I didn't know, and I had to read the official Pokemon handbook by Maria S. Barbo.
I had the same one, and I used it, and I believe there's a checklist at the back.
There is.
I filled that out, and I remember when I learned that Mew was in the game, I like drew a little extra square at the bottom and wrote Mew in there.
That's really cool.
but I didn't know how to catch them at the time.
Yeah, because I bought this second hand, I have somebody else's checklist.
Oh, interesting.
Which is really interesting, and some of them have been done in pen, and some of them have been done in pencil. So they changed their mind about whether or not they wanted to be able to do this again. They had some very interesting choices though that I'm not sure I necessarily would have agreed with.
Who was the stuff?
Squirtle, which is a very solid choice. Can't say no to that. If they'd picked Bulbasaur, I would not have been pleased. But they also picked up they got Butterfree, which is I think a classic. I think like everybody got Butterfree, but they also chose to get Pidgey and Spearow. No, I don't know about that. I don't know what you're doing there, matey.
It's just a waste of space at that point.
Yeah. Doubling up on those types. This poor kid, he wasn't thinking strategically about his party
Stupid
composition.
Idiot.
You dumb kid. You would have gotten rolled at the first gym.
Come on! You got a min-maxed, bro. I really wish I could go back to the days where I didn't know like how to min-max a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
That's my one wish in life.
You know, it's funny. Like, I struggled. I was really bad at Pokemon. Like, because I didn't think about that sort of stuff. Like, I would just pick Pokemon that I thought looked cool.
Yeah.
And then I would sort of just over-level them because I liked them and I didn't want to have to go and get a different Pokemon type if they weren't the right type. So I would just over-level the shit out of them and, like, until they were able to just tank things that were super effective against them without instantly dying.
Yeah.
So consequently, it took me forever to finish all those Pokemon games, but it was kind of nice, like having a real bond with your Pokemon.
I think that's the idea of Nuzlocke.
Yes.
And Nuzleaf is a Pokemon that evolves into Shiftry,
which brings us back to Ludicolo.
And we've just hit I think we've just hit an hour that we've been going for.
Yeah,
so
we
wrap
have.
this up.
Yeah, well, I'm good on Bouffalant. I feel like I've said all I needed to say.
Said your piece.
I've said my piece. My word has been distributed to everybody here. You've all received it, and I hope to God you agree with me, because if I ever meet anybody who actually wants to come up to me and say, I really like Bouffalant.
Bouffalant is my favourite.
Bouffalant is my favourite Pokemon. I'm gonna have to question their sanity, because that's just, they're gonna be saying it to stir me or something. There's no way anyone actually wants that.
You have to bully them.
I have to bully them. That's the only outcome. I'm gonna have to become what I hate the most.
A Bouffalant.
A Bouffalant. Yes. Yep, definitely.
All right.
Alrighty, cool. Well, thanks everybody for watching and joining in.
Thanks.
And hopefully we'll be doing this again next week.
Oh yeah, for furry bait.
For furry bait, we'll be bringing it to you live. Furry bait, the definitive the definitive podcast episode of furry bait Pokemon.
I'm gonna have a look through the Pokédex after we end this and pick some of the best ones actually.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued which ones are the most popular.
Yeah. We should separately come up with our own ideas for what we think would be a good furry Pokemon, and then see how close we are to what actual furries think.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, we can look forward to that next week.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.
Bye.